Good morning, natural gas. It's Thursday, June the 3rd, 2026. I'm Tim Beggans, president of ELK Trading Company. And for the spot July contract, we're currently trading 333.3, up 11.9 cents or a little bit over 3.5%. Now, as you can see, the RSI has turned to the upside. The 13 and 48 period exponential moving averages will turn if a higher close here today. So that is also bullish. So we're breaking out to the upside. Today is storage day. Expectations now around plus 101. There are clusters around plus 95 to 96 and even as high as plus 115. We are going up against last year's plus 119, the 5-year average plus 101. So we'll be bullish relative to last year, at least neutral to the 5-year average. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. And as you can see, we're well above the daily pivot today, which comes in at 3206. We are now testing up the second pivot resistance, which is at 325.5. Our last resistance here is 338.90. So in order to continue to the upside, we need to see a bullish storage report relative to the 5-year average. Let's take a look at the front to back spreads. And with the strength in the front and concerns still about super El Nino this winter, the front to back spreads are coming in again. We're down 6 cents here to 1.219 for the Jan versus the July spread here. The RSI is pointing back lower yet again. And let's take a look at the LNG pricing markers here. JKM, Japan Korea marker versus the TTF. These are in dollars per MMBTU. The spread for July all the way out to $2.23.5. It's currently down 12.5 cents, but that's still strong here. As you can see, the spread favors spot LNG going to Asia. And let's take a look at LNG. There is nothing loading at Ras Laffan, the vessel that we saw loading yesterday. The Al Salah is currently off the coast. There she is. And currently right now just sitting out there with engines going slowly here. So we don't know whether or not it just came in for some supplies or whether or not it had a small load of LNG. But let's take a look at US LNG, and this is Cameron, and it is currently running about 1.48 out of 1.56. So this is nice utilization here as they're making plenty of LNG. Let's take a look at Creole Trail. This feeds Sabine Pass LNG. Currently right now 1.544 out of 1.7, also doing quite well. But Corpus Christi, which is doing some compressor work at Sinton, is down to right now, currently 1.73 out of 2.75. So it's got over a BCF of operationally available capacity. But again, the compressor work is at least affecting 300,000 MMBTUs through the 9th. And let's take a look at Venture Global. This is for Plaquemines, currently right now running over nameplate capacity, over 4 BCF right now out of 3.94 BCF of nameplate capacity. But the opposite story here for Calcasieu Pass. Currently right now, we're running only 1.39 out of 2.125 BCF. So there's over 700,000 of operational capacity there. And unfortunately, Golden Pass, running only 100,000 MMBTUs at a nameplate capacity for train 1 between 800 and 850,000 MMBTUs. So still having some growing pains. And let's take a look at the temperature outlook because it's starting to get warmer, especially over in the desert Southwest and the Ohio Valley. As you can see, both are going to be above normal for the June the 11th through June the 17th period, as well as the tip of Florida. And here's that heat risk. As you can see, that desert Southwest up in Boston all the way to New England here. And then this expands. As we look here, we start seeing some major heat risk in the Dakotas, Wyoming, here in Nebraska. This now starts to move into North Carolina and Virginia as we go through the forecast period. We start seeing more and more of this, especially here on next Tuesday up in Dallas all the way up into Tulsa. And then it really starts to extend from almost Houston all the way back up into the Dakotas and Wisconsin and Minnesota. So temperatures are rising. The heat risk is also rising. How about ERCOT? Well, currently right now, renewables are just going to be about 30,000 megawatts, and that is out of 69,000 for total system-wide demand. But because wind is one major component and it is light, natural gas is picking up over 50% of the fuel mix. That's good news for natural gas bulls. How about Europe? Well, right now, as you can see, it had some warmer temperatures coming in. It still stays warm around the 7th here for the Iberian Peninsula, Italy, parts of Greece. The northern tier of the countries like Germany and France stay moderately warmer, and then it starts to really warm up as we get into June the 16th, 17th. As you can see, France really starting to get very, very warm. Same thing for Germany. How about storage? Well, again, the same story. We've got our pokey puppies here. The UK at 19%, Netherlands at 16%, and of course, Belgium at 22%. But some countries are doing fairly well, like Portugal and Spain. Even Poland is doing well, and Italy also. So we've got a mixed bag. They're going to be lucky to get to 80% full across the EU by November the 1st. Let's turn to Asia here, and as you can see, it starts to get warm across the eastern provinces of China here, going out into the Koreas and Japan. As we go through the forecast period here, it does start to look very warm. Again, with super El Nino conditions forming, Japan may have a warmer summer than even 2023. That was pretty warm. As you can see here, June 16th, really very, very warm around Shanghai, all the way back up to Beijing. And then, of course, as we go through the forecast period, that goes out to June the 18th. Still very warm for the Koreas, eastern provinces of China, and parts of Japan. Here is the U.S. nuclear outages. We're currently right now at a very low level here, only less than that. We are right now 2.9 gigawatts out of the range here is 2.6 to 8.8. We've only got basically 2 nuclear units, Surrey and of course St. Lucie, that are more than 50% outage. The rest, we've got about 3 different units that are below 50%. And then of course, we're still waiting for Palisades to return to commissioning here sometime this summer. And here's the tropical update. As you can see, it's kind of quiet out there. There is that storm system off the coast of the North Carolinas, but there is really nothing in the Gulf of America / Mexico, and there's just something off of Panama, but nothing really forming here expected for the next 7 days. And here's another reason why. That dust, that Saharan air layer, actually pushed into the Houston area just yesterday. And as you can see, there's still that plume of it to the north and another big swath of it coming in from the south, all pointing. It looks like this tail, almost like an arrow here, pointing directly at the Mississippi River. Kind of weird. And here is the drought monitor. And as you can see, we've got exceptional drought still in Florida, although recent rains have made a dent here in parts of South Carolina and Georgia. But you can see still exceptional drought in parts of Arkansas, the Panhandle of Oklahoma, Texas, Colorado, Nebraska, and Idaho. So we desperately need rain, and the hurricane season has started for the Atlantic, but nothing's out there right now. And here is the stocks. Oil and gas E&P sector between $2 and $10 billion, have a high short float over 10%. And we've got a little bit of a bounce today. CRK up 2.72%. The rest of it, though, is coming down a little bit because crude oil is off. CNX behind me up 0.86%. So natural gas stocks doing well. Oil-related stocks, not so much. How about the recapping here for the July contract? We're currently at $333.40, up 12 cents or 3.73%. Today is storage day. Expectations plus 101 BCF. That is exactly the 5-year average. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.